So, the first 4 weeks of this course were all about participating in this larger conversation about the disciplines that occur within the humanities and their purpose in a larger academic, political, even professional context. And that was more of an effort in secondhand research in order to add to the conversation in your own way, which is a huge value within the humanities, where the discussion of some pretty timeless issues is forever continuing and there are no easy answers. This next project, though, takes us a new direction. I'm asking you to get your hands a little dirty and to use data to generate new theories rather than just read about other people's theories. So this is qualitative research. This is ethnographic research. That's our aim. And this ethnographic research has the data collection methodologies that include things like interviewing, observations, surveys even, life histories and case studies, or maybe even analyzing artifacts like photographs, letters, videos. And part of the appeal is that ethnography allows us to look really deeply into a subject or a group. And we're often looking at that subject, that phenomena, that inquiry from the insider's perspective. So we're going to start this unit with an initiation into ethnography. I'm asking you to read a chapter out of the book Qualitative Research, An Introduction to Method and Design, because I think that the author, Francis Reimer, does a really good job making ethnographic methodology accessible to novice ethnographers. And I want you to notice as you read this introduction chapter how Reimer talks about her own experience as an ethnographer. She says she learns how to ask questions. We've already started that process, or we're going to start that process in this first couple of weeks. Reimer also discusses, though, how to collect the moments of everyday practice simply using her senses, listening, watching, recording all of that data. This is fieldwork in the humanities, and it aligns really well with the values that the humanities holds. For example, the researcher is the narrator in an ethnography, and the researcher is allowed to have a voice in this genre, to be a self in the write-up of this report, and they're invited to be an intimate part of the process. Notice how big a shift this genre is from really traditional quantitative research, where the researcher is asked to remain as distantly objective from the data and interpretation as possible. Our different disciplines, the social sciences, the hard sciences, humanities, etc., all call for different methodologies and for different reasons. There's good and there's bad in all of that. So our discussion on ethnography in general will help expose both sides of that coin. Reimer also uses this phrase, fumbling on the unfamiliar, and I think that's apt. This ethnographic process is asking you to innovate, to forge new ground, to ask new questions, and to seek your own approach to data collection, not to simply seek out and collect the opinions of others. It's asking a lot to put you in the role of a researcher, I know, but it's a pretty valuable process. Remember that ethnographic data is local, which means that it's deep rather than broad in scope, and deep takes some time. Essentially, I'm asking you over these next few weeks to do some field work here. We're going to devote some time and energy to data collection, which means you listening and watching, observing with a purpose, having a question in mind, developing interview questions, maybe even gathering together some site documents if that applies to your inquiry. And we're going to look more closely at systems of analysis for all of that data. But for now, just begin to get comfortable with the ethnographic form of inquiry and data collection and begin to get curious, like a researcher. As always, don't hesitate to ask questions.